You are listening to Podolsky come to you to talk Haunted Vermont. However, in this season, we're going to take a look at some very interesting folklore, urban legends, and some true crime. So, stay tuned and get your spooks on. The story of the curse began in 1748 when Abenakis lived near the springs and relied on the natural healing powers of the waters. When a soldier was wounded in the French and Indian War, his Abenaki companions brought him to Brunswick Springs. Legend has it that they brought him and put him under the springs, and lo and behold, he was cured, said Beverly Kettle, a resident of North Stratford, New Hampshire, a town just across the river. Kettle's father, Henry Savage, built the last hotel that fell victim to fire. Not only does the curse seem to be true, but the springs itself was also called the eighth wonder of the world from Ripley's Believe It or Not, due to the belief that the springs from the same source was able to be split into 6 unique mineral waters. Some of the splitting of this new mineral waters included iron, calcium, magnesium, sulfur, bromide. The soldiers supposedly returned to the springs after the war to bottle and sell the water, and Abenakis objected to the sale of something natural. In the struggle that ensued, legend has it that an Abenaki man and baby were killed. The child's mother, a sorceress, is said to have cursed the spring, and I quote, "Indians said anyone who tried to profit from the springs would fail," said Brendan Whittaker, a Brunswick resident and chairman of the town select board. He said the fires were caused either by, quote, that curse, and someone with a grudge, or accident, unquote. There has been numerous buildings that have tried to withstand the Brunswick curse. However, each one that was built has fallen victim to random fires. As stories of healing continued to spread, the area began to look like a gold mine at a time when mineral waters were used frequently by the upper classes in Europe. Kettle said the first house was built on the hill above the springs in 1832. The first hotel, called the Brunswick Spring House, followed in 1860. An early hotel brochure burst the medicine waters of the Great Spirit, and 60 guest chambers piped with the water from Brunswick Spring. The hotel stayed in business for several years. From the hotel on the crest of a hill, the view included the Connecticut River, the Green Mountains of Vermont, New Hampshire's White Mountains, and Silver Lake, on which some say they have seen the ghost of the sorceress. Others say the lake is bottomless. In the 19th century, people would apparently take the train to North Stratford, New Hampshire, and then a horse and a buggy into the springs, to the healing waters as they called them, Whittaker says. What remains of the Brunswick Springs Hotel? A walk a quarter of a mile into the woods from Route 102 reveals Silver Lake first, now home to multiple beaver dams. Deer tracks cover the area after a recent snow. The ridge rises to the left, and a cement staircase, over a century old, can be climbed to the top, displaying a view across the Connecticut River. Further in, another old staircase leads down to the springs, and visible on the embankment is an old, overturned spring house. According to Whittaker, the small cement building is engraved with the names of several members of the Civilian Conservation Corps, the CCC. The land around the springs served as a CCC site after the last fire in 1931. If any enterprising businessman today ignored the curse and still wanted to develop the land, he could not. The Abenaki people now own the land, and curse or not, it will never see development. The Abenakis in Swanton formed a non-profit organization 10 or 12 years ago called Wubanaki, Inc. Whittaker says they bought the land because it originally is a sacred spot for them. Wubanaki Inc. then sold the right to develop the land through an easement to the Vermont Land Trust on October 22nd. A conservation easement is the right to develop land, says Kathleen Odell of the Vermont Land Trust. It says that you can't add more building to the land or have other business operations besides those that already exist. As a land trust, we legally say that, and that land can't be developed again. So, is there any scientific proof to the healing power of the waters, or that there are even separate minerals in each of the springs? I guess you would have to find out if you even can. However, there was a state geologist from New Jersey that actually tested the springs and found their mineral contents were not very different. If people want to believe in the myth, and myth is not necessarily a bad word, then fine. But scientifically, if you test the water, you'll find there's mostly sulfur dioxide, and its level is almost identical in each of the springs, he says. Legend or lore, however, do not rely on proof. And that basically says that, who knows, was there some type of healing powers or not? And I guess the only way to really know is by finding out for yourself if you had permission or have permission from the Indian tribe to be healed by the power of the Brunswick Springs. I hope you enjoyed this little episode of the Curse of the Brunswick Springs. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Also, make sure you check out the entire article below. And stay tuned for more, as Season 2 is just about to head full speed.